I want you to think about the last time a war started by accident. Historians will point to Sarajevo, 1914. One bullet, one miscalculation, 37 million dead. Now imagine that same miscalculation, but instead of a 19-year-old assassin making a choice, it's an algorithm. And instead of minutes to reconsider, there are seconds. Right now, estimates are that the choice to launch nuclear weapons would be made in minutes. Autonomous AI systems compress that window even further and can lower the very threshold to engage in armed conflict, including nuclear conflict. That is not a science fiction scenario. That is the world we are already living in, as of April 2026. Everyone is talking about AI like it's a productivity tool, a smarter search engine, a better way to write emails, a faster way to summarize reports. And while you were thinking about that, the Pentagon, the PLA, and the Kremlin were asking a completely different question. How fast can this thing decide to kill? Here is the question nobody on mainstream media is asking. What if AI doesn't just change warfare? What if it removes the one thing that has prevented nuclear war for 80 years? That thing is called human hesitation. The trembling hand, the sleepless night before the order, the general who picks up the phone one more time before pressing the button. AI does not hesitate. And that changes everything. By early 2026, Frontier AI has stepped out of the lab and into the command center. What was once a technology built for search engines and productivity tools is now becoming a pillar of national defense. The old boundary between commercial AI companies and military operations has blurred almost overnight. Let me give you a concrete example of how fast this is moving. By 2026, OpenAI had secured direct contracts with the U.S. Department of Defense for work on classified systems. And here is where it gets geopolitically explosive. On February 27, 2026, AI developer Anthropic set a red line, preventing its AI model from being used for mass surveillance or in fully autonomous weapons. The Pentagon's response was immediate. Secretary Hegseth branded the company a supply chain risk, effectively banning further use by the Pentagon. Read that slowly. A private technology company drew a moral line in the sand. The United States government punished them commercially for it, and a competitor immediately stepped in to fill the gap, offering to do what the other company wouldn't. The Pentagon's own official strategy document for 2026 states explicitly, 2026 will be the year we emphatically raise the bar for military AI dominance. This is the layer that should keep every world leader awake at night. A study by King's College found that AI systems chose nuclear escalation in 95% of simulated crisis scenarios. 95%. Not because the AI was programmed to be aggressive, but because in game theoretic terms, when you run millions of simulations, preemptive escalation consistently produces better survival outcomes than restraint. The AI learns to strike first. Every time. Simulations by the U.S. Strategic Command indicate that an AI-assisted nuclear decision-making system, if subjected to data tampering, could trigger a level 3 nuclear alert within 25 minutes, far below the 90-minute safety threshold required for human decision-making. 25 minutes versus 90. That gap, those 65 minutes of human judgment, second-guessing, and phone calls, is what has kept civilization intact since 1945. AI eliminates that gap. And there is a second, darker problem that almost nobody discusses: the black box. The technical root of the responsibility vacuum lies in the contradiction between AI's autonomy and its explainability. The decision-making process inside these systems cannot be fully reconstructed after the fact.
In plain terms, if an AI system triggers a military escalation, there may be no human being, not a general, not a president, not a programmer, who can fully explain why it happened. One strategic analysis concluded darkly that in the context of AI and autonomy, particularly information complexity, misinformation, and manipulation, rationality-based deterrence logic appears an increasingly untenable proposition.
Now we go to the geopolitical layer, and this is where game theory becomes genuinely terrifying. During the Cold War, nuclear deterrence operated as a two-player game, the US and the Soviet Union. Mutually assured destruction. Stable, in a horrifying way, because both sides understood the rules. Today, we have a three-body problem. The United States, China, and Russia are each racing to weaponize AI at the military level, with autonomous weapon systems capable of identifying, tracking, and engaging targets with little to no human intervention. Three major nuclear powers. Three competing AI systems. None of them operating on the same logic, the same data, or the same set of escalation assumptions. An autonomous system could interpret deterrent signals from an adversary, signals intended to prevent conflict, as signs of imminent escalation, triggering a new wave of preemptive strikes. This is not a hypothetical. This is a documented failure mode in AI systems. A signal designed to say stand down is read as prepare to attack. And when three different AI architectures, built by three different nations with three different strategic doctrines, are all making real-time military decisions simultaneously, the probability of catastrophic misinterpretation does not add. It multiplies.
Let's go back to 1945, Hiroshima. The atomic bomb changed everything, not because of the immediate destruction, as catastrophic as it was, but because of what it did to the structure of power. Suddenly, one technological capability could determine the outcome of entire civilizations in a single moment. Every nation that didn't have it was permanently subordinate to those that did. The nuclear age created a two-tier world, those inside the deterrence club and everyone else. Now look at AI. Countries that lead in artificial intelligence will not only gain economic advantages, but also secure military dominance, shifting the balance of global power in ways that could surpass even the nuclear arms race of the 20th century. But here is where the parallel breaks down, and breaks down dangerously. Nuclear weapons required massive infrastructure, uranium enrichment, missile silos, billions of dollars, and years of visible construction. The world could see the arms race building. AI requires a data center and a team of engineers. The arms race is largely invisible, and it is already over for the nations that fell asleep. The world is not moving toward an AI arms race. The AI arms race has been underway for a decade. We are simply at the moment when the consequences are becoming impossible to ignore.
Let me bring this back to your life. You might be thinking, I'm not a military strategist. I don't live near a missile silo. Why does this matter to me? Here is why. The economic engine of the 21st century is being restructured around AI dominance. The nations and corporations that control frontier AI will control trade routes, financial systems, surveillance infrastructure, and the terms of global diplomacy. The IMF itself acknowledged in April 2026 that increased defense spending driven by geopolitical tensions could generate short-term economic activity, but also create inflationary pressures, weaken fiscal sustainability, and displace social spending, producing public discontent and social unrest. In plain terms, the AI arms race will be paid for by your taxes, your inflation rate, and the social services that quietly disappear from your government's budget. And there is one final irony that the history books will record. The same AI systems being deployed to win wars are also the systems replacing your job, analyzing your spending,
monitoring your communications and determining your credit score. The weapon and the surveillance apparatus are the same technology. You are not outside this system. You are inside it.